Hello, teacher of Nonviolent Communication. Could you spare 2 minutes for an interview for our column? Why are we polite to outsiders but tend to lose our temper at home?
Because subconsciously, we see that as a safe zone.
But does being in a safe zone mean we can vent our anger freely?
Not really. We just assume they should endlessly tolerate our bad temper.
Wow, do you mean we treat our family's love and tolerance as an entitled privilege?
Exactly. Being too familiar often makes us forget to show respect.
That hits hard. No wonder people say familiarity breeds contempt. But if it goes on like this, won't home become an emotional garbage dump? Just mutual damage?
Exactly. Verbal harm often stems from the abuse of this privilege. It's verbal violence.
Teacher, I might have been a bit harsh. Do you think it's that serious? That's not violence, right?
Sometimes words hurt more than a knife, especially for those closest to us.
That gives me chills. Is this what you meant in your book when you talked about observation and judgment? Feels like many arguments start right here.
Observation means stating the facts, you see.
What about judgment?
Judgment is labeling or defining the facts.
Can you give an example? It's a bit confusing.
There are 2 dirty socks on the floor, that's observation. You're so sloppy, that's judgment.
Damn, got it. So you only wash dishes once this week is observation, but you never do housework is judgment.
Exactly. Judgment is like lighting a match. It can easily cause a conflict. So true. That one judgment line, and boom, I do help, and it all explodes. Judging shuts the other person's ears and makes them raise their defense shield.
Judging shuts the other person's ears and makes them raise their defense shield.
It's because you didn't distinguish whether you want to express your needs or just vent your emotions.
Wait, are you saying that many times we don't really want to solve the problem, but just want to vent on the people close street to us?
Yes, when emotions are high, it's easy to do that.
So what does nonviolent communication suggest?
First, stabilize your emotions, then talk about your needs.
But isn't that a bit against human nature? When you're angry, who cares about observing and judging?
Change always takes effort and practice, especially for something more important, like love.
For love? Alright, what about the emotional account you mentioned in your book? What's that?
Relationships are like a bank account, storing emotions.
Emotional account? How does that work?
Understanding, appreciation, and support are deposits. Criticism, complaints, and judgment are withdrawals.
This metaphor is perfect. So every time we lose our temper with family or say harsh words, we're overdrawing this account.
Yes. If you keep overdrawing, the account will become empty.
And when it's empty, what happens?
The relationship breaks down. Trust is gone, hearts grow distant, and the connection fades.
Wow, the cost is too high. No wonder some couples lose their love after fighting. It's because the emotional account is empty.
Exactly. Small injuries accumulate over time, and eventually, the house of love collapses.
What about the so-called sharp-tongued but soft-hearted people?
That kind of speech is still a withdrawal. Sometimes, how you say something is more important than what you say. Good intentions with thorns still hurt.
I see. So how do we make deposits into the emotional account?
In addition to saying fewer harsh words, notice and acknowledge the other person's good qualities and efforts, and express them. For example, specific thanks and clearly expressing your feelings and needs.
For example, wife, thank you for cleaning the house so well today. You've worked hard.
Yes, specific recognition plus sincere gratitude is a good deposit.
What about clearly stating your feelings and needs?
For example, I'm tired after working overtime and want to spend time with you. Don't say, you only know how to play on your phone.
How would I say that?
You can try. I feel a little tired today, and I'm feeling down. I would like to chat with you for a while.
Would that sound a bit pretentious? Or weak? What if I'm a guy or a tomboy? Can I say that?
Expressing your true feelings and connecting sincerely is powerful, not weak.
So you mean that by expressing my true feelings, the relationship might actually grow closer?
Yes. Armor may protect you, but it also blocks love.
What is the most damaging form of verbal violence?
Attacking someone's personality or denying the person's worth.
How does attacking personality work?
For example, saying you're selfish or you're hopeless. It directly defines the person instead of addressing the issue.
What about the Cold War? Not arguing, but just ignoring the person, does that count as violence?
Yes, and sometimes it can be even more hurtful than arguing.
Why?
It's a silent punishment, using indifference to express dissatisfaction and even control the other person.
My God, silent punishment is a perfect term. I've seen people make others feel guilty by ignoring them. That's also violence.
Yes. The message it conveys is often, you made me unhappy. I don't love you anymore. As a result, it destroys security, pushing people further apart. When hearts are far apart, people may stop talking and think it's useless to communicate. When you want to speak but think, forget it. You won't understand what I'm saying. That's when the relationship enters a zombie state.
Zombie state? Another heartbreaking term.
They may look like they're still together, but the love has died. The sorrow is greater than death.
Is there any way to save it? Can we save a relationship in a zombie state with your method?
As long as both still have a good thought in their hearts. But it will be difficult. It requires great courage and patience.
Okay, let's get to your formula: observation, feeling, need, and request. How do we use it?
Yes, the 4 steps can help us reconnect. Observations state facts, not opinions. Feeling, express your emotions. Needs state what needs aren't being met. Request, make a clear, positive, achievable request.
If the other person says no, does that mean communication failed?
Nonviolent communication isn't about controlling the other person. It's about building connection based on sincerity and respect.
Even if they refuse, expressing your feelings and needs is still a form of connection, right?
Yes, understanding is the first step in connection, sometimes more important than meeting the needs immediately.
This is quite revolutionary. I always thought communication was about getting results, but you mean the process is more important.
Yes, a sincere connection is more nourishing than immediate obedience.
I need to think this through. The formula sounds simple, but it's definitely hard to apply, especially when you're angry.
Yes, it requires constant practice and frequent self-reflection.
So what's the most important thing? What if I forget the 4 steps?
First, learn to distinguish between observation and judgment. That's the foundation.
Right, control your mouth.
Don't label people recklessly.
Then what?
Try expressing your emotions with "I feel" rather than blaming. Put away your finger pointing at others and ask yourself what you're truly feeling inside.
Yes, focus more on your own feelings instead of just looking at what the other person did wrong. This shift is really hard. We're so used to thinking it's always the other person's fault.
Nonviolent communication means you take responsibility for your own emotions and needs.
Taking responsibility for your emotions and needs, it's not a small thing.
Yes, once you realize this, you stop being a blamer and become someone who takes responsibility for themselves.
This is truly a huge upgrade in mindset. Teacher, let me ask a tough question. What if the other person just won't listen, refuses to reason, or even verbally attacks me? Should I still be nonviolent with them? Doesn't that make me a doormat?
Nonviolence doesn't mean you don't defend yourself or respond to insults.
So what should I do?
You need to clearly set your boundaries and protect yourself.
How do I set those boundaries?
Use the same 4 steps. You can express your feelings and needs and make a clear request for the other person to stop harmful behavior.
What if they don't stop?
If the other person doesn't respect your boundaries, you can choose to temporarily leave the situation to protect yourself from further harm.
So, you can say, the way you're speaking is hurting me, and I need to be respected. Please stop. If you continue like this, I need to leave for a while. Let's talk after we both cool down.
Yes, your attitude should be clear and firm, but your words should not be aggressive.
I understand now. Nonviolence isn't weakness. It's actually a more powerful way of self-protection and communication.
True power comes from inner calmness and clarity, not from outward toughness.
This is so enlightening. Teacher, you've truly awakened me today. I used to think I could act however I wanted with those closest to me, but it often led to mutual harm. Turns out, you need to practice this skill more at home than outside.
Love is not an excuse to hurt others.
Then what is it?
It's a reason to communicate thoughtfully.
Well said. Love is not an excuse for hurting others, but a reason to communicate with care. I've written that down. Looks like next time I want to lose my temper, I need to pause for a second and change. Why are you doing this again? To I feel, because I need. Can you?
Every time you try this, you're making a deposit into your emotional account.
Thank you so much, teacher of nonviolent communication. I've gained so much today. I feel like my thoughts have suddenly opened up.
You're welcome.